So today, thank you so much, everyone, and thanks for being so patient. So today I'm going to go over my top tips and things that I learned from the Success Club trip, my first Success Club trip, my first Beachbody trip. So some of them are tips, some of them are things that I noticed, some of them are just things that I experienced. But there's four kind of main things that I wanted to share with everyone. And number one is just what I learned more about Shakeology, which I found really interesting, and where to find the resources for that. What to do when you feel disconnected from your business, or when life gets crazy and you need to just adjust maybe your time or what you have to put into the business. The third one is what I noticed about the people of Beachbody, and what I noticed about the successful people, and just the environment and the vibes there. And then number four, and this is the biggest kind of theme of the whole trip for me, was limiting beliefs and what they do and how they affect us and what we can do about them. So the first thing, Shakeology, that's pretty quick. I've always known that Shakeology was good, and we've read all the trainings and stuff. It was really powerful to actually sit there with and listen to Isabel Deichler speak about Shakeology, to kind of hear just her passion for like the health benefits of that, and the reason that she created it. And then I was always kind of, I could share what it's done for me, but I always felt that there was that disconnect once people started asking a lot of questions. And I know that it comes up every once in a while, and people say, like, how do you share Shakeology? And the big one that I always get is like, why can't I just buy like this $30 protein powder from wherever, right? And I kind of would panic and get stuck on that. And the thing is that she said, protein's easy to get. Like, we can all go out and get a decent protein, and make sure that we're getting enough protein in our diet. But what's hard is a lot of these other ingredients that they've made in Shakeology, or made it to put in Shakeology. So that was a big one for me, is that it's the missing link in our nutrition. It's not the things that you can go and like make a spinach salad with, some beets, and we can all make some pretty decent food. But depending on where you live and what your schedule's like and how much time you have to cook, you're not going to be like, it's not like I'm like, oh, well, I'll have 3 goji berries today, and then I'll have some chaga mushrooms for my adaptation. So it was kind of neat to just think of it differently. Like, it's all the things that are hard to get in your diet. It's not just your greens. It's the things that you don't just like throw in your basket at the grocery store. So that was really helpful. I did learn a ton of other stuff in that Shakeology session that she did, but I think that she explains it better. So I will post in the Fit Lounge. I fell into like a rabbit hole of Shakeology information the other day, and it's called Formulator's Corner. So you can either Google, or not Google, but go on YouTube and go to Formulator's Corner. And it's chopped up into snippets of her answering questions, which I think is really handy, because you can actually send, like, I don't think it's unreasonable at a certain point in talking to somebody when they're asking about Shakeology to send them, a 30-second video or a 40-second video, but you don't want to send them like a 45-minute video. Nobody is like, hey, I don't know about the Shakeology, but I have time for a 45-minute video. So they're super handy. I'll post the link in the comments for that, so that, and the title is just super self-explanatory. So, and I think Christina described her voice as like really sultry, which it is. She's like captivating when she talks. I just want to listen to her talk about Shakeology all day. So it's great to hear it right from her. So that is my Shakeology stuff. The next one is going to be, my next topic sort of section is going to be what to do when you're starting to feel disconnected from your business, or life gets crazy, or just, there's always going to be things in our business and our lives that pull us away from our business or change directions, and we just need to adapt to that. So where I learned this was from the Elite panel that they had, and they had like, I don't even remember everybody's names, but they had like Amy Silverman and Miko Folson, and just like a whole bunch of people who are amazing. And Jeff Hill would just ask the question, and they would each kind of answer. So every single one of them said that when there's something comes up and they're either feeling disconnected or they're getting pulled in a different direction, they said to get back to the basics. And no matter what you're doing, if you want to continue with your business, that it's really important to continue with at least the basics and the bare minimum. And then they went on to say that it was really important to kind of get your basics on autopilot and build those habits. I think that, like, I kept, as I was thinking about what I was going to talk about on this call and how I was going to explain it, I keep thinking about Jocelyn and her call last week, and when she explained that she got herself in the habit of messaging 20 to 30 people a day. And like, look what it did. I mean, we all saw, like, she was just like welcoming like coach after coach after coach per day. And like her Success Club points were insane. And her energy, you could just feel it through your computer screen. So I think just like making those things a habit, like, and that's not to say it needs to be 30 people a day. But just, they talked, every single person that answered the question spoke about the momentum and the fact that you don't want to lose momentum that you have, right? And I mean, if your momentum is going to go like this, that's okay, right? Like, you can like kind of roll out of that once your life is more accommodating to your business as well. But if you just stop, then you just have to start, like, you got to like dig right out of the trenches again. And that's so much harder than if you can just do the basics and the bare minimums. So one thing that I really, like, the first workout we did on the first day, and this was something, like, it was a crazy surreal experience for me. Nicole looked at me and she's like, look who's working up beside you. And it was Jess Dukes. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm working out next, like, Jess Dukes and Rob Pearson. And like, Rob Pearson is doing mountain climbers beside me, telling me like, we could do this all day. And I'm like, I know, I can't stop now because he's beside. I don't like mountain climbers. They're like one of my less favorite workout moves. So it was cool to have him beside there and pushing me. But what I really noticed about this, so it was the quarter force workout and everybody was learning new moves. It wasn't any of the ones from the video. So it was new stuff. And you know how like learning those combos is the first time you do it, like it takes you a couple minutes to just get in the rhythm of, you know, which arm and which way. And what I noticed in the workout that I think just relates to the business and life in general is that these people who are really successful in the business work out the same way kind of that they run their business. Like each one of them, like nobody stopped their feet and said, this isn't working for me, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to take a break. Everybody just kind of slowed down, did what they could with what they had, and then by the second round they ramped it up and they added that speed and that power, and they had more to give because they were more in control of what was going on, but they never stopped doing it. And I think that really just related when I then listened to the elite panel saying that you just have to keep that motion going, right? Like, so that was kind of a parallel moment for me noticing that. And then they said, you know, your workout, your nutrition, and your personal development, if you're feeling disconnected, you just have to get back to being what it is, right? Like being what Beachbody is, being what being a coach is. And that is working out, dial in your nutrition, do your PD, and then not only does it reconnect you to the whole situation, it gives you content for your social media. I think Chelsea said it on her team call the last week. She said, you know, that's 3 posts right there every day, is post about food, post about your workout, post about something you learned in personal development, and then throw something in about your life. And maybe if your life is absolutely bonkers crazy at the time, just do those 3. Just do workout, nutrition, personal development. You know, don't give up or take a break. Just do the best you have with what you have to give to the business. So just those basics, and cut out the overwhelm, right? And I know that this has really worked for me when I felt disconnected, especially when I couldn't work out after having a baby. I felt really disconnected, and I felt like the second that I got back to like working out, eating well, and I was doing personal development the whole time, but just when that like whole package comes together, there's something really powerful about that. And I think it shines through on social media and everything. And again, I think about Jocelyn. She talked about you know, like how much PD she was doing. And you can just feel that when somebody's really on the ball in their own stuff. And that doesn't mean you have to be on the ball in your whole life. It just means you're on the ball in the stuff that you're sharing, that relates to your business, and that'll keep you afloat, you know? And so that you still have something to be floating on when you want to dive right back in. So that's all I have on what to do when you feel disconnected from your business. The next thing is kind of a fun topic and something that I didn't know what to expect, and I was really nervous about what to expect about the people of Beachbody. And we talked about it a little bit between us on the trip. I had a lot of people ask me, like, oh my God, like, it must just be all these people who are crazy fit walking around. And it was funny. It was funny because, like, I think as much as I kind of knew that it wasn't going to be like that, and don't get me wrong, there was a lot of really fit people walking around, but it was so much more than that. There was every single kind of person you could imagine was there. I mean, it was like going to the mall, except the thing that connected everybody in Beachbody is that every single person there was trying to be better and trying to help other people be better. Like, it was the most positive, like-minded environment I've ever been in, and it was incredible. So then I started noticing just the things, you know, when you have conversations with people and listening to conversations with people and at the elite panel and everything, and a few things that I realized people had in common, especially with the elite panel and the really successful people. Number one is that they all just have this belief that nobody's going to shake. They just believe in themselves. They believe in the business. They believe that they are going to be successful, that they will continue to be successful, and that they will adapt to whatever changes come their way. They don't worry about the small stuff. They just believe fully that whatever happens, they're going to handle it. They have habits and routines, especially when it comes to the basics. And I have like this crazy like business crush on Jocelyn right now, which you guys will totally notice. But again, like when you guys listen to her team call, like she's talking about how she gets up at 4:30 a.m. and she does her Bible study, and then she does her personal development, and then she does her workout. Like, and it doesn't need to be 4:30 a.m. Because everybody has a different circadian rhythm. So it can be whatever your routine is that works for you. But I really noticed that listening to that elite panel, people said, I wake up at X time, then I do this, then I do this. Like, they've got a series of events. That's something I am still working really hard to get. And I'm sure that they're not like nailing it every day. There's probably things, but they do the most they can to control the time that they do have that they know is available to them. So whether that's once your kids are in bed, or before your kids wake up, or before you go to work in the morning, or between shifts, you know, whatever it is for you, the routine and the habit building was something I definitely noticed a big theme in. They treat their business like it's a business. Like, you know, I catch myself doing this sometimes, like where I'm just, you know, it's something that gets pushed to the side. And these people, it's like a normal other job, you know, to them. Like, you wouldn't just bail on work. I mean, we have extra freedom. We definitely have a different situation and an extra freedom if you're doing this full time. But you wouldn't just be like, oh, well, you know, my aunt's in town for the next week, so I'm just going to not go to work for the week, and I'm not going to tell anyone about it or make any plans to arrange it. They just treat their business like a business, and it's part of their everyday life. And they all stay true to who they are. And I think this is harder than it sounds, because it's so easy to sit there and watch the elite panel and be like, oh my gosh, that's working so great for her, and maybe I'll try doing that. And I mean, being inspired by somebody and being copying them and feeling like you need to be like them is different. And I find that line a little bit difficult, but they all work hard to stay focused on their own lane and do what they do best and be who they are. And you can kind of tell when you're around those people who are really successful that they work at it. It's not something that they just like happens naturally, which I think that we just expect that like acting like ourselves all the time is really natural. But I think for myself, like through just insecurities that I've had, you know, it's easy to fall into habits of protecting yourself rather than allowing yourself to just like be full on who you are, what feels good right to your core. So um, something that I've thought of just adopting is I just kind of do that gut check before I post anything or before I'm thinking of doing anything. And if I just get that like feeling that maybe this isn't exactly for me, then I spend another minute thinking about it to make sure that it's really in alignment with who I am, and that it's also communicated in a way that I feel good about, that represents me well. So yeah, so the other thing was Amy Silverman said, and I think that, like, I thought this at first, like, I thought that if I was doing Beachbody coaching, I had to tell everybody every little detail of my life. Like, it had to be like open my front door and just let everybody into my house, my world. And on certain aspects, absolutely. But like, you don't have to share everything. Like, if there's an area of your life that you're not comfortable sharing yet or ever, you don't have to. Like, there's nobody saying like it's all or nothing. You got to share it all. If you don't feel good sharing something, then you don't have to do that. So just share what you want in an authentic way that feels really good to you, and just kind of keep doing those checks with yourself. Like, is this in alignment with who I am and how I really feel before you do share? And I think that that's how I'm going to approach it just after seeing them. So I hope that helps. I know that's something I really struggle with, is like trying to be inspired by people and not be a follower of what they're doing if it's not in alignment with me. The last section was the limiting beliefs. So limiting beliefs, and it was really nice to have 3 other people there who were going to call us on it, right? So we all have limiting beliefs. We all have these things we tell ourselves about why we can't, or why this is the only way that works for us. And I mean, I am super guilty of this in so many areas of my life, you know, and it's interesting to just kind of all of a sudden think like, why do I even think that? Why do I even, you know, like, I think a big one for me in the past year has been things around being a mom and my kids, and you know, like, well, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I can't send my kids to childcare an extra day, and because I'm a stay-at-home mom. But at the same time, I'm working a business, and that's okay. I'm allowed to be Alaine and a mom, right? So whatever your limiting beliefs are, they're hard to see. Like, I'm sure that I still have like a whole suitcase full of them that are just waiting to come out, but I'm also more ready for them now. And I think that I've put a lot of thought into this since then. I mean, we had a super long plane ride back, which was very good for thinking time. So a couple things that I've thought of is ask for accountability from somebody that you trust and that you feel really comfortable with. Somebody you think will speak up and tell you the truth. And as soon as you ask that person who's really going to tell you the truth, you're going to check yourself way before, because you know that they're going to call you out on it, right? Like, as soon as I, you know, said to Kara and Nicole and Christina, like, hey, like, you guys can call me out on it, I was like really watching my mouth, which makes you watch your thoughts, right? So being aware of your limiting beliefs, recognizing them whenever possible. It's harder than it sounds. Like, you know, I've got it written down here. It sounds all great. And I know it's harder than that. It's way harder for me than that. Bust through them and just decide that that's not your truth. You know, like, I can decide that I can be a stay-at-home mom as well as, you know, a Beachbody coach, as well as a group fitness instructor. Like, it's going to take some changing in my life. But first I have to change my beliefs about that. If I just say like, well, I can't because my husband doesn't get home till 7 p.m. or whatever, like, so I can't teach classes like that. There's a million ways around it, and there's a million things that other people are doing that kind of show that works. So, and that's just an example. I know that that's not everybody's limiting belief. So bust through them and just decide that that's not your truth. That doesn't have to be the way that it is. And the third one, which is the hard one, is take action towards your new truth. So schedule that babysitter, or, you know, take that time, or maybe pick up that shift somewhere so that you can pay for the next Success Club trip flight or something, you know, like, just do those things that bust through your limiting beliefs. Just take action, which is the hard part, but it feels so good once you actually get the ball rolling. It's like a huge weight off your shoulders. So the big thing that I was thinking about limiting beliefs is that limiting beliefs become your truth if you let them, but so do your dreams. So it's a choice between if you want to choose your limiting beliefs, and whatever you think about it is true. So yeah, so choose your dreams. They're so much better. They'll get you so much further. It's scarier at first, but it's way less scary in the long run. So those are my 4 sections. The very last thing that I just really find hard to put into words that I realized on the Success Club trip, other than make sure you have travel medical. Anytime you go anywhere, do it, because it's the first thing they ask for, and $40 is nothing. So travel medical, so glad that everything worked out for Christina. Like, that was so scary. And I gotta say, like, that girl is tough as nails. She, like, mentally, her attitude was amazing through that whole thing. Blew my mind. So yeah, travel medical, travel with good friends, and we don't have to do any of this alone. There's just so many people there. It didn't matter who you looked at. Like, it was like smiles and high fives and just really friendly people. And I think that was a true representation of this business. I mean, the fact that you can get on YouTube and look at any training, and you can find people who will help you in this business. Whether it's just through trainings that they just share openly, like, we're so not alone. And I think that's really special. I think that that's something that has really helped me a lot to feel part of this community, and especially like this close-knit community, I think is just amazing. And I'm so grateful to be involved with this. So that is all that I really have from my Success Club trip tips. So if you guys need clarification on any of that, I feel like some parts I kind of blew through in a disorganized way. So if you need clarification, let me know. And yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Alaine. That was incredible.
Thanks for joining. I thought I was all alone for like the first 5 minutes. I was like, nobody wants to. So I was really happy to see all your faces on here.
We were all super excited. Everybody's like, what's happening? What's going on? So they wanted to be here. Thank you.
I should have checked the Fit Lounge, but I was in panic mode. I was like looking at my cards first.